Just past the Seychelles airport, there's a dirt road that goes up to Dakota Ridge. If you take that road and you look to your right, you might spot a really long driveway with a locked gate. That's the Pinecone Range. And that's where you might find Allan Harding practicing for the Olympics.
Can you give me one more?
One more, sure.
Like, I can do this all day, Dom.
Yeah, I'm just getting started.
Allan's an air pistol champion. He's got the medals to prove it. National championships, not to mention the stickers all over his pistol grips showcasing all the competitions he's been to around the world. He's not messing around. Now, if you're wondering what an air pistol is, well, it is different from a typical rifle or a handgun. Air pistols use compressed air to fire a projectile at a target. What you're hearing is Allan firing a .22 caliber bullet, so that's a pretty small bullet, at a 2-inch bullseye that's 50 meters away. Basically, he's firing a dot at another dot. And more often than not, he's hitting that dot. Now, his competition career, it's had its hits and misses. Notably, there was even a roughly decade-long gap where Allan didn't even get to go to a range, didn't fire a single shot. He'd moved to Vancouver at that point, and life there proved challenging and heartbreaking, and pursuing his choice of sport at the time just wasn't possible. But then he moved back home. He moved back to the coast to reconnect with his passion, to reconnect with his community, and to reassemble everything that makes Allan, Allan. Allan, on the coast, for a living, you're a coder, you're in software.
Yeah.
For your sport and passion, you're a shooter. You also DJ and run bingo nights, rock and roll bingo nights at the 101. What's the connection between air pistol competitions and DJing a good dance night?
Yeah. That's a good question.
So now, when he's not working a software job or DJing at the 101, you'll most likely find Allan out at the Pinecone Range, aiming a small dot at a slightly bigger dot and gunning to earn a spot on the 2028 Olympics team. Of course, making that team is anything but a sure shot. This is Secret Sunshine, the podcast about the folks who make the most of life on the Sunshine Coast. I'm Dominic Girard, and in this episode, Allan shoots his shot. So as this episode publishes, we're heading into winter. And winter is traditionally a quieter time for real estate. But some of you are maybe thinking about next spring already. Is it time for me to move? Is it time for me to buy, list, sell? If you're wondering about that, a great person you want to talk to is the sponsor of this show, Nico Coastal Homes. You'll hear from Nico a little bit later in the episode, but honestly, as far as straight shooting advisors go, you can't miss with Nico. Check out Nico at nicolearnett.ca or grab a link in the show notes to this episode. Now, let's get into my conversation with Olympic hopeful Allan Harding. It's a conversation that was recorded at the Pinecone Gun Range just a few weeks after he'd returned from a nationals competition in Ontario. That's where we start. How high were the stakes for you at your most recent competition?
Pretty high. But I think that was pressure I was putting on myself, right? Having been a 4-time national champion, in your head, it's like, I'm going to make 5-time, which I shouldn't have even been thinking about. I shouldn't have even been putting that pressure on myself at all and just not even worried about it. Just gone and shot, which is technically what I did, but I know in the back of my head, in some little corner of my brain there, that was floating around in there. It's like, you got to do well. You got to get 5-time national champion. And that's, you have to be really careful with what you're thinking about leading up to, and especially during the competition. Like I'd say it's over 90%. Like, it's never mind the physical stuff and everything. Like, you need to really have mastery over your thoughts and what you're focusing on during the competition.
When we talked before this interview, you mentioned LA 2028 is kind of like your last shot at this thing.
I think so.
What does that mean?
Just aging things that come up. I've even noticed that eyesight, it's slowly degrading. And so it's just like as I'm focusing, my eyes get tired more. And just how much more investment in time and energy do I want to put towards that? Part of me is like, no, just keep going. Just see how far you can go. And then another part is like, try for that one, put the effort in, really make a go of it. And after that, know that you did your best kind of thing.
This one audacious goal.
It is pretty audacious. Yeah. It's tough to do. And that's part of the appeal. It's like, can you be that good? Right. And
Yeah.
yeah.
But Allan, just a couple of minutes ago, you talked about how you brought pressure to yourself in your latest competition.
Yeah.
And the Olympics goal is a level of pressure. I mean, it makes sense. Of course you want to shoot for that.
Yeah.
No pun intended. Right? But it sounds to me like it's a story on how Allan manages pressure generally. What's your relationship with all that kind of pressure?
So 100% agree. It's interesting because every time I take a shot, whether it's at the range or even just visualizing it, it's, that final shot at the Olympics. Like that's what's running through my head, even just in practice.
Can't help it.
I can't help it. But I feel like if you just get there, it's this thing where pressure's almost off. Now it's just like, I made it. I'm here. I just got to do what I've been practicing for the last, 30 years.
Yeah. It sounds like there's a mindfulness practice at play here for you.
Oh, yeah. And I've gotten to a point, I did the math once. I've well over 500,000 shots that I've taken.
Oh, my God.
And so when you do something 500,000 times, you've got a pretty good idea of how to do it well, how not to do it well, and just how to approach all those shots. And going through that process over such a long shooting career, I can tell, like, when I'm focused and in that zone, and it's almost like the state of flow that a lot of athletes will talk about. I've got my set routine that I go through. I know exactly when I'm taking breaths, how long to hold my breath, how I'm going to inhale, exhale, all these different things. And kind of have that all dialed in. So I know if my brain just shifts just a tiny little bit, even just some random thought, oh, I'm feeling a little bit thirsty. That tiny little thought just is enough that's going to throw my score off a little bit. Just having that break and focus where it's just like, oops. Right? So it's like...
You've been able to attribute it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so now I know it's just like really down to a tiny detail. It's like, oh, I was anticipating that shot. And it could be any number of things. I see what I did there. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about my taxes for a split second or whatever.
It's the wrong time to be talking about taxes.
I know, but just using that as an example where these rogue thoughts will just come into your head and you have to, that's enough where it's just like when you're trying to focus on something so tiny, you got to steer them out of the way so you can stay back in your shot performance, right?
So Allan, that focus on that precision shot, on that, I mean, the whole world around you going down to less than a millimeter. Right?
Yeah.
What is it about that little tiny micro moment that makes you want to pursue it over 500,000 times, 500,000 times already?
There's this place that I go when I'm in that spot where it's just like, you're not even really thinking. It's just very bizarre at times because it's like I've shot in finals where afterwards I'm like, especially the times that I've won the nationals, during that process, you have 50 seconds to take a shot and everyone's kind of doing the exact same thing. You're just somewhere else. It's hard to explain, but it's like it's almost a different plane of existence. Like even just visually, there's a lot of blackness that I just so focused. I'm not aware of the crowd yelling and screaming in the background. Like it's just gone. Everything fades away. And I don't know. I find it like this beautiful moment of peace where I'm just like, you can't even think the thought of like, whoa, where am I right now?
Because then
you can't because you've broken it then. You're broken out of that. But when you're there in that space, it's just, it's awesome. It's hard to describe unless you're there. And I think that's what I end up chasing too, because I know it's just like when you shoot that perfect shot and shoot a 10, it's just like, whoa, I did it, right? It's like, and I think with any sort of individual target sports that can come up, right? Archery, golf, darts, right?
Sure.
It's like, oh, I did that.
You just said it's hard to describe. So my next question is, can you describe? Is there a sensation?
A couple things I know happen. the sights on the firearm that I'm using, all of a sudden they're just massive, right? They just look like the size of billboards and just like so easy. They're just slow moving and it's like, oh, this is not hard at all. Other times I'm like trying to focus. I'm like staring at these tiny, I mean, how am I even going to do this?
So you know.
Then I know I'm not there.
Right.
So things like that. And then just your overall, like I wear earmuffs and earplugs when I'm shooting. And when I get super focused, like I can hear almost like the blood kind of flowing through by your ears there and everything. Like there's just something different that happens where you're just like so in tune to your body.
So does that mean you're ready, or does that mean you need to take a breath and reset?
No, I have to trust that I'm just so focused in that moment.
Your perception.
Yeah. And just like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were 17 when you first started exploring.
I think I was 17. Yeah.
Around 17.
Yeah.
Do you remember what compelled you to want to visit a gun club?
My brother got me into it. So he was going to the junior program that was running at the time, and they were shooting here on the coast. Every Tuesday and Thursday night, he's like, "You gotta come. You're gonna love it." And I had no interest at all. I'm like, no, I don't want to do this. We went into the backyard, and he's like, "Okay, take this pellet gun. If you shoot the can, you're coming with me." And he's my younger brother. He's younger by a year, and so I'm like, okay, let me just get him to stop asking me. And so I went and shot, hit the can. I'm like, oh, it's kind of cool.
Then what happens?
I think he said something like, "You're coming with me." I'm like, okay,
fine.
Yeah, let's go. And I remember going, learning all the safety rules, all that, and shot a rifle for the first time. Within, I think it was 2 weeks, I'd shot perfect score, like 100. And this is like the Shooting Federation of Canada's recreational target sports program. So
were you better than your brother?
We were around the same. So because he had been doing it for a little bit longer than me. And
you caught up real fast then, it sounds
caught up real fast. And then the coach there, my first shooting coach, he was shooting competitively, doing pistol shooting. And he's like, "Let's see what you can do with an air pistol." And so I slowly, made the transition over to that. And enjoyed it right away. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. And you start to read up on more on it. It's like, oh, this is an Olympic sport. You can go to all these different competitions around the world. And yeah, that's kind of what got my start there.
Nico, one of the things Allan and I talk about in this episode is how moving back to the Sunshine Coast, because he's a coaster, grants him a lot more access to a much more quiet shooting range, which is an interesting way of thinking about the things you can do in the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm going to add that to the list of things I'll tell people. Hey, you'll have space for X. Quiet air pistol shooting.
This season of Secret Sunshine is supported by Nico Coastal Homes. Now, Nico is one of the top realtors on the coast. You've heard me say this before because it's true. What's also true is Nico genuinely understands why people fall in love with living here on the coast. I mean, jokes aside, it's pretty cool that Allan feels like he can practice much more what he's doing here than back in the city. And I wonder if a version of that comes up of people trying to escape the city.
Absolutely. That's always a huge feature of the coast. So Allan's story is very typical. People have a hobby or a passion or a project they want to do that the city doesn't allow for that, or they've always hoped they can do it. And so, hey, here's a place. It's wonderful. It's close by to a lot of other things I may need. It allows me the space and the place to do the thing I love.
That's literally what's happened to you as well with your pottery work, right? Am I right?
That's exactly right. The first house we bought here had a big studio in the back, and I was taking pottery, and I really wanted to get more into it, and it became my pottery studio, and it was a huge draw for us. So, I mean, that's definitely one of the things I talk to clients about all the time. Ask them, what are you into? What do you hope to be into? What are your hobbies? Like, let's look at a space that allows you to grow into what you love doing. And it's a huge feature for people. Work-life balance is amazing.
So basically what I'm realizing now is you can come to the coast to fire a rifle or fire some clay.
Ooh, yeah, you can. You can fire on all cylinders.
Look, if you need a realtor who's always firing on all cylinders, look up Nico at Nico Coastal Homes. Find her at nicolearnett.ca or grab a link in the show notes to the episode. Did you ever find yourself as you're really blossoming into this passion, did you find yourself in a place where you would have something happen to you and you needed to process it by, I'm getting in the car, I'm going to the range?
Oh, yeah.
Did it ever become like a kind of medicine for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Shooting's always been an anchor for me in some way where it's like, sometimes when I say, oh, it's been an anchor for me, I'm thinking in my head, like, yeah, it's going to drag me down. And it's like, no, that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
It's been something that's just been stable in my life that I could always just go to the range. And even when I left the coast, I lived in the city for 12 years. Living over there, that was something that, when I moved to the city, I stopped shooting for quite a while. Trying to focus on a job and a career, it was always something that's like, okay, it's on the back burner. I'll come back to it in the fall or next year. Never did until 2006 rolls around, and that was a very low point for me. Just so many aspects of my life had just kind of crumbled in some way.
Can you tell me about it?
Yeah, a little bit. I was in Mexico for a friend's wedding and was busy working on a startup idea. It was not going well. And I won't get into the details of that, but it had taken a huge toll on me. And I remember being in Mexico. I was visiting some family down there. I got an email saying like, oh, your cat. And I had 2 cats in my life at that point, Marvin and Thomas. They were just the best. Got this email, and it was like a thread of them. I'm like, started the first one. It's like, oh, your cat's not doing well. I think he's sick. Didn't think too much of it. Read the next message. Yeah, we're taking him to the vet. Until it basically is just like, he passed away. He had been poisoned by someone. And I was just like, what just happened? In a matter of me just going to an internet cafe at the time and reading through some emails, like my world just changed. And I remember getting home, and within 3 weeks, his brother would just not leave my side. And then one day I just like decided to go outside, and I always let them out. Decided to go outside, never saw him again. Just didn't come back. And I think it's all these different things were happening at once. Startup not going well, in debt, both cats within 3 weeks who were kind of like my best friends at the time in a way.
Yeah.
They're now gone. And so I'm like, I got to do something. And I remember just like moving some stuff around. I saw my air gun there, and I was like, I wonder if there's still a range out in Richmond. And so looked it up, and sure enough, they were still doing a program out there. And just started practicing again, started shooting.
What was your mindset on your drive up to that Richmond range? Like how much you were putting that into, I just need to open this case and fire at a target?
So when I go to the range, it's like, it's almost meditative at times. And I think that's where I was going through a lot of kind of pain and struggle, and just thought, okay, let's just go and shoot, because it's something that at that point in my life, the way I viewed it is, no one can take that from me. I was good at it before. Let me just go and do this. That's kind of just how I approached it. And
but that's how I understand the anchoring metaphor you said earlier, because it sounds like you literally were unmoored to play that through.
Yeah, for sure.
There had to be a little bit of a like, why did I take 10 years to come back to shooting?
Absolutely.
Was there?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I kind of regret not having stuck with it through. I mean, looking back, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So that break had to happen pretty much regardless. But knowing that some of my friends who continued didn't take that break and have shot at the Olympics, and I'm like, oh, I remember shooting with them at nationals back in mid 90s and things, and now look what they're doing. But like I was saying, it's not something that I intended to go that long. It was always like, this next season in the fall I'll start this, right? And
it's just that the city and your life in the city there's just too much going on. It was too complicated.
Too much, and
you got swallowed up by that part of your life.
Yeah, and just career and work and trying to pay bills and things, right? I mean, the idea of going and spending $3,000-4,000 on new equipment, or
at that time,
it was just like, nope, like unrealistic. I do recall, I think once in 2002, trying to make a comeback and had signed up to go shoot at a competition or something, and ended up unable to. I was in the video game industry at the time, and it was pretty brutal in terms of work-life balance at the time.
Notoriously.
Oh yeah. Like I remember sleeping under my desk a couple times while I was there, which, I mean,
Please tell me the video game you were working on involved guns in some capacity.
it did not.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
No, it did not. No, but still, that took a lot. That was a big toll on me back then.
That grind culture, that crunch culture. Right?
Yeah, which is one of the reasons I had left to go do a startup, but that ended up being its own struggle. I just was not aware at the time of how much effort and just resources that it took to do something like that, right? It's one thing to have an idea and try and get something off the ground, but yeah.
Do I have this right then, that the way you were able to get back into it included choosing to move back to the Sunshine Coast? Is there a one-to-one relationship there?
There is, yeah. So 2012, I was competing internationally for Team Canada, traveling quite a bit, and just the expense of everything. Mm-hmm. I was working for a tech company and going down to the Bay Area quite frequently, and started to compete internationally, and those costs were going up, and paying rent in an apartment downtown Vancouver was...
Say no more.
It was starting to get really expensive for me to have 497 square feet and an underground parking space when I was hardly ever there. I averaged 70 flights a year for a few years there, and pretty ridiculous, right? You're just like living single, constantly just on the go.
I'm exhausted hearing you say.
Yeah, and I mean, it was fun. And so just to get back to your question, I looked ahead at what the 2014 World Cup schedule looked like, and I wanted to try and get to 2016 for the Olympics. And I thought, you got to do well at the World Cups, you got to do well at Commonwealth Games. All these different things had a price tag on them. And so when I moved back, I stayed with my parents for 6 months. They were traveling quite a bit, and I just figured I'll just stay in their house and back in my old room. And did that for about 6 months.
So you moved back to the coast and moved back to your old room, so you could focus on competition.
Yeah, and because the range was closer, right? Like trying to find a range in Vancouver, I had to go all the way to Port Coquitlam, and living downtown in an apartment building, and even just using the elevator and carrying gun cases. It just doesn't, optically, it just doesn't look very good, right? And
the vibe's different?
Vibe's different, and I started to not enjoy even the idea of someone knowing that I had firearms in my unit, right? So I'm just like, this just doesn't feel good. And then ended up just buying a place over here and realizing like I can work remote, and I've got the luxury of being able to come train at the range here.
Right.
A lot easier.
I guess I wonder about when you go to the range here and you travel, it's ocean, it's trees, it's forest.
Yeah.
It's less chaotic.
Yeah.
And I wonder if you've ever thought about whether that environment influences your practice.
I think it absolutely does. Yeah. When I would go shoot in Port Coquitlam at the public range there, you've got everyone from, just shooting handguns to big bore rifles, just shotguns, everything. It's just noisy and just chaotic, right? It's not ideal to be training in that kind of situation all the time, because that's not Olympic conditions, right? So coming out here, having that peaceful drive up here, it's like, oh, might have to stop for a deer or something, right? But instead of like, stop and go rush hour traffic to get to Port Coquitlam by 7 a.m. or something some days, just to be there early enough to get a lane. Yeah. You're not going to go there and shoot well in that environment.
But now you're back at it again.
I have enjoyed the last few years getting back into it with my teammate Stuart. We've competed all over the world together, and we had a team gold in the Netherlands in February there. So yeah, it's nice to be looking forward again, and it's like, okay, let's go LA 2028. Let's figure out what it's going to take.
Allan, on the coast, for a living, you're a coder, you're in software.
Yeah.
For your sport and passion, you're a shooter. You also DJ and run bingo nights, rock and roll bingo nights at the 101. What's the connection between air pistol competitions and DJing a good dance night?
Yeah, that's a good question. For one, it's a creative outlet for me. So it's something that I get to go and just play and have fun. And I've always enjoyed music, listening to music, and I used to produce and throw events in the city when I lived in the city there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's something that I've gotten a lot more into recently. And also, there's a huge technical aspect to DJing as well.
It just seems to me that coding, DJing, pistol, they're all about precision.
Yeah.
So you seem to be in pursuit of precise things.
Yeah, there's something beautiful, I think, about something that's precise. I was also thinking, it's like, shooting, coding, DJing. If I'm not wearing headphones, I'm wearing earmuffs or something. Like, maybe that's just the thing.
Yeah, it totally is. It's just what you put in your ears. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. A few weeks after we recorded this interview, Allan traveled to Richmond to compete there and took a gold medal. Congrats, Allan. Next up for him are 2 big international events in the Netherlands and Denmark. That's just early in the new year. You can find out more about Allan, including how to support him, by following him on Instagram or checking out his website. I, of course, put links to both of those in the show notes to this episode. Also, in those show notes, a link to Nico Coastal Homes, this podcast's gold medal sponsor. That's it for this episode. The show's theme is by Max Henry. I'm Dominic Gerard, and this is Secret Sunshine. Back at you in just a few weeks, just as soon as I finish baking a sweet little episode for you. See you then.